Good evening, everyone. Welcome and welcome back. My name is Kelly, and today we are going to be working out of 3 different books from Maremi's Small Art. We've got Spring Stories, Whimsical Houses, and Fungos. So yes, we're going to be pulling elements from all 3 of these books. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Now I am going to admit to you that I am overwhelmed with this project. So you're going to get to see the overwhelming part, and you're going to get to see how I work it out. So these illustrations are so wonderful, but in creating an art journal page or a collage, a scrapbook piece, an art journal page, you're wanting to find balance. And I'm struggling in this one to find balance. So you're going to get to see how I solve the problem. So let's get this big piece down. And as those of you who know me, I'm not going to be gluing everything down, because I've got some surprise tuck-ins that I'm going to be doing. Okay. I've got a lot of pieces. I had a lot more than what I ended up with. I scaled down some of it because as I was placing things together to see what they would do, I ended up with a big jumble of beautiful chaos, and I do not want chaos. So you're gonna get to see some of what I'm struggling with. So let's get some of this big stuff down so you can see. This background of butterflies is going to be mainly the sky. So I thought that would be fun to incorporate a sky of nothing but butterflies. Okay. So bear with me as I work on getting these things down. I've got pieces such as this that can go on the side to add to the collage. I've got other pieces. And as I work this out, you're going to get to see what my conundrum is in just a little bit. So I appreciate your patience as I get these things sorted. So we are putting houses on top of mushrooms. Now there is a video that I did that some of you may have seen called Mushroom Village, where I stuffed houses up into mushrooms. I stuffed them up through the caps of the mushrooms, and you can see how I actually got that to work. That was a fun project as well. So a lot of this I've done and chosen my elements because they work so well with creating depth and dimension. And this swing is so, the strings on it were so delicate that in order to get the middle section out, I did cut this side of it. So I do want to decide if that swing is actually going to work well there. Or will it work better over here? I'm starting to see something that is enjoyable. So what I'm going to do, let me go back to my original. Because and all I did to slip this in is cut the top of this mushroom and cut a slit between the staircase and the railing to get that house to fit a little bit further in on that mushroom. So I'm going to start getting these houses in their mushrooms. And then that way I can see better what I've got left to work with. I think that's part of the confusion, is I've got too much undecided and not put down. So I'm going to do that to give myself some quick wins. I may have one house too many, and that's quite all right. Because I want to create a type of forest effect. And I think I like that. So let's take this house and put it back. And see where that swing lands. And I'm actually liking it without the swing. So I'm going to do a swingectomy. And I will use that swing somewhere else, because that's a good swing. So I'm wanting to create depth and dimension. I'm going to go ahead and get this guy down, because I like where he's located. So sometimes the engineering of these takes a lot of time to figure out what looks good, what has balance. And I think I'm wanting to say, I thought I was missing a mushroom, but I'm not. I'm not missing a mushroom. Okay, I'm gonna get this big girl down and this big girl down. I'm going to leave the top without glue on purpose. I have to decide how far I want that flower to come up. So you see, if I put this down here, everything's on this level. So I want to move that up just a little bit. Make it look like a taller mushroom, just for balance. So now you can see my frustration with all this is how to get it on here, make it look good and balance, and then tell the story. So sometimes when you have a whole lot of pieces, it can be more daunting than if you don't have a lot of pieces. And I will be trimming that later on. Okay, now we have some clouds. Let's see if I can get any anything back behind here. And again, I will trim in a little while. I want to get it down first before I start trimming. Okay. These are some clouds I cut off from another page, but they're all within those 3 books. This may not work over here the way I wanted it to. So, let's see, I can cut it down. Now we'll use this scrap somewhere else. So what I normally do is I'll go through pages and books and pull out things that I love, subject matter that I love. Then I will start weeding out those things I definitely don't want, and I begin to come up with a story. Now you see I've got this line already cut out because I've got a little guy I'm going to put in there. Yeah. Those of you who know me already know I like to insert characters. And the little guy we're going to insert is this little guy right here. Now what I've done is I've already cut his paw away from his body. This little paw right here. And I cut right here so that I could have this paw coming up over the edge. of the flower, or the mushroom actually. So by cutting the top of the flower all along here, it looks like he's sitting inside. So all I did was, again, I isolated the paw that I wanted to come up over. And then that way he looks like he's coming out of it. And get that paw down. This little house is going to be just on the ground. Now I think we need a sun in the sky. So this is our sun. So I'm just going to trim this away. And we now have our sun. So think about things in different ways, and they're actually on the page. Don't be afraid to use flowers as suns. Let's see what else I have. Now, the edges of a cloud should never be sharp. They can be rounded and fluffy, but they should never be sharp. Unless it's like going on the edge of something. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start trimming some of these pieces so that I can see better what the bottom is going to look like. So I'm going to take these two pieces off and I'm going to start trimming. I put some of these skewed on purpose. I'm going to close my door to keep some noise from happening. think you've got a good time to film when there's no noise and things change. Okay, so don't let it throw you if you hear some thumps behind the wall. I've got a roommate who is fixing dinner for herself. So now that we have the edges off, we're going to fill in down here. And then I'm going to demonstrate and now I've got a kitty cat who wants in. Those of you who have kitty cats know they do not like closed doors at all. Okay, so let me get these guys down, and then I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with this chaos. Because right now, it's so jumbled up that I want to show you how to isolate images when you have a lot going on in your background. Because that's what it actually needs, is some isolation. So, let me get this one down. And then I'll show you how I treat all the jumbled images and how to isolate others to get some balance. And I may have to cut some edges again, and that's okay. That's all right. I originally was going to have him, this house right here, balanced on a mushroom, but I did change my mind. So I'm going to open the door just a little bit so I can let Mr. in. Okay, so now we're going to begin to isolate images and soften images. So I've got here, it's an old lid off of a fruit cup that I got from a lunch one day. And then this is this old skincare that I finished up, but I like the dropper. So I'm gonna use the dropper for crafting. Where I need to put some water, I just need a little bit of water. I don't need a whole lot. So I like this top to the fruit cup because I can put paint in the center and water in the well. Okay, and we're going to be using acrylic, and it's just your white. I don't know that it has any color to it. It's Collage. I got it at the craft store, and it's just basic white. I'm gonna start off with just a little bit at first. I don't want too much. And we're gonna start isolating. And we're just gonna put some foggy areas to cut some of that jumble. Now I've used gesso and I've not used gesso. I've tested it several times. And I found no difference. So we're going to use some milky, foggy areas to cut the chaos. Make it look like we've got some fog rolling in. And you can do this anywhere you want to isolate. You want to make it milky white, and you've seen Marta do this with her finger. So now it's starting not to look like such a jumbled mess. And I'm having better on these papers, a better time with just a straight paint with no water. And you can go in and soften it. This is making a sort of web design because of the way the paper is reacting to the brush. which I don't mind at all. So I'm dampening some of these areas to keep it from looking so busy. And this is a technique you can do with any of your images. If you've got images like this, I want to isolate this one. You want to dampen the busyness of the colors. This is a technique you can use to soften and to do that. And so some of that busyness falls further back into the background and allows your other images to come forward, making it look like it's a soft and foggy, milky mess. And I'm going up and over some of these images to make it look like actual fog. As fog would creep in and out and all along. And you can soften other edges too. I'm going to isolate that guy so he pops out more from that busy background. I'm going to push that back by milking it out or fogging it out. Let me get some glue on this area right here. Okay, so do you see how by milking it out, you have less busyness and it pushes things into the background as if they're in the far distance. So if you want something to look farther away, you want to fog it out, mist it out. And I'm going to get some glue on this girl right here, because she's coming up. You'll find often in woods that you have that milky fogginess that pushes things into the background, making them almost look ethereal. And the acrylic does dry very quickly. So you can do that with a brush. You can do it with a Q-tip. You can do it with your finger. Okay. Now I have yet to come up with a title on this beauty. I'm getting rid of some sharper corners that I really don't care for. And this is another way you can do it. And I've got a boy, even though I've got the door open, who decides he wants to yell and object. I'm going to get rid of this line right here. Create some other clouds. So just play. This is your world. Play. Don't worry about it if somebody else likes it. Just play. Think outside the box. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Our houses on mushrooms. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed this, working out the chaos with me, because I was not sure which direction I wanted to go. So I thank you for your time, and I do, as I'm speaking, see something I want to adjust, and I'm going right here with it. And I will work this out off camera. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. And that you have enjoyed your time here. I'm gonna soften some edges that I see. Just smoke them out. I'm gonna soften those edges so it looks like foggy bottom. Thank you so much again. I appreciate your time, and I will see you on the next one.